outside more often, and, to Laura's delight, in public as well. They enjoyed bringing her to play parties and showing her off for all to see. But there was one thing that Laura had not yet done. She had not yet been fucked in public. She had been strung up naked and made to scream, sweat, and pant in front of a crowd, but it only ever went as far as a good impact play scene. She wanted to be made to come in front of strangers and to show off her skills at sucking cock and eating pussy. She had been promised by Martin and Diana that if her training went well that weekend, she would be rewarded by being brought to their local dungeon the following weekend and fucked by the both of them in front of everyone in the room. She was thrilled at the prospect and vowed to the both of them that she would be the best slut they'd ever seen. Laura climbed out of her blankets and walked over to examine herself in the mirror atop a chest of dresser drawers, while Martin and Diana remained asleep. She tiptoed over to the vanity as to not wake them and looked at her reflection, studying everything about herself that both she and her owners loved. She stood, naked, and admired the dancer's body that she'd worked tirelessly to sculpt for herself. She fingered the small O-ring in the center of her thin metal collar, the key to which only Martin and Diana held, and shook her curly auburn hair out of her face, blowing an errant strand from her eyes. "Good morning, pet," she heard from behind her. It was Martin, roused from his slumber by the creaking of the floor below his slave, despite her best tiptoeing efforts. "Good morning, sir," she replied with a small bow. "Are you ready for us to train you to be our little slut today?" asked Diana through a yawn. "Yes, ma'am," Laura said, bowing her head in reverence. "Well, time spent standing there and gawking at yourself in the mirror is time you could be spending getting breakfast ready. Wouldn't you agree?" Martin asked playfully. Chapter 2. Laura hustled down the stairs, still barefoot and naked, as she was allowed neither shoes nor clothes when at home, save for extenuating circumstances, and listened to the jingle of her collar as she took each step down. She hurried to the kitchen, flipped on the lights, and began opening cabinets and grabbing items from the fridge. Her penchant for gourmet cooking came second only to her skills as a slut, and she continuously strived to improve upon both very helpful and special skills every day that she spent in Diana and Martin's home as their slave. She worked her fingers to the bone, nearly slicing off a fingertip in an effort to more efficiently chop the extra ripe banana with which she was planning to adorn the heaping stack of pancakes she'd cooked up. Along with the pancakes, there was crispy, thick-cut applewood smoked bacon, and a bowlful of scrambled eggs that she knew would please her master and mistress very much. They came downstairs to the fragrant scent of a heartfelt and sincerely prepared breakfast, wearing casual clothing and smiling as their slave knelt in front of the dining room table, palms on her knees, facing up, and smiling back at them. "Sir and madam, breakfast is served," she said proudly. "Very good girl," said Diana. "And what have you prepared for yourself?" Laura gestured to the small bowl in the corner of the room, which sat on a small mat and contained a slightly lesser version of the breakfast she'd so painstakingly taken care to make. "Peanut butter oatmeal with sliced bananas, ma'am," she said. Martin and Diana sat down at the table and dug into their delicious meal.